Hi, and welcome back to Sharon McCaskey at MDVS Business Services. Now, basically, congratulations, you've decided to start your own business. I hope you've chosen something you're passionate about because, quite frankly, to be honest, if you're not passionate about what you're going to start your business in, you're just probably not going to stick with it. For me, my passion is definitely helping micro and small-based business, as well as, believe it or not, Australian history. Anything to do with Australian history, I'm absolutely passionate about. If you look online, Facebook, for example, Convicts and Bushrangers, or www.convictandbushrangers.com.au, you'll see that my husband and I have a brilliant, fantastic, amazing convict and a bushranger exhibition. That's now in New South Wales. It's there for another couple of years, but we do own exact replicas of the 4 Kelly Yamas, and I'm going to actually be setting up some sites that explain all about Australian history soon. Now, in regards to business, though, if you're not passionate about history, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're just not going to succeed. So make sure you do pick something that excites you and that you see something that you can be doing in a few years' time. The idea, ladies and gentlemen, is to also be aware that what you're building is not only a job for yourself, you're building a brand and a business, and with a little bit of luck and a lot of effort, something that is tangible enough that you can sell later on. So good luck with that. Now, there is also rules and regulations to starting up your own business. If, for example, you're going to be a bookkeeper, you can't just sit there and go, I'm great at books, I'm going to be a bookkeeper. Nowadays, you actually need to have certain certificates and qualifications for certain businesses. For a bookkeeper, I believe you need to be a Certificate 3 or Certificate 4, but you must be registered with the, I believe, the Bookkeepers Association. If I'm wrong on that, it is something like that, but they basically will actually assure that you must be registered. Now, if you actually are trading without an ABN, you need to be also very careful of that. An ABN you don't have to have. An ABN is a Australian business number. But if you give me an invoice and you just basically have a business without an ABN and that invoice is for $100, by law I must withhold 46.8% for tax. So just really research, have a look online, contact your local Chamber of Commerce, contact the Perth CCI, find out whether or not what you're doing is something that needs to actually have a registration for. Every man and his dog, I notice these days, is starting up mentor programs or website programs or basically social media experts, etc. Look, there is certainly a lot of people in that field, and I have some great friends who are mentors. I'm a mentor. I have some great friends that are website designers. But I met a man recently who built his own website, thought he could do websites, charged a client, I think it was about $1,500 for a one-page website. That what people don't understand is that when you're dealing with graphic work, with Facebook, with Facebook marketing, I mean print media, anything along those lines, you can't just slap things together. There is an art to actually marketing your business. Now, we'll get back into that later on, but just be aware of a few things. If you decide to work from home, you need council approval. Now, that has to be from the planning department of your local council, and usually it's pretty much writing a letter basically saying, I'm going to be running an office from home. This is what I'm planning on doing. Thank you very much. Now, provided you don't have staff, you don't have 6,000 people turning up at your premises, and nothing encroaches on the street, they usually pretty much approve it. The only problem that you're going to have is if you're opening up a dress shop, a shoe shop, a retail store, industrial, or something to do with cooking and food. There are much more rules and regulations to that. So, contact the council, contact the Departments of Consumer and Employment Protection to find out if you need to be licensed or registered. Then we come to the situation of, do we apply for GST? Personally, I'm not a huge fan of GST, and if you don't think your business in the first couple of years is going to go over $75,000 per annum, perhaps maybe just leave the GST out and you build up to it. With that in mind, seek advice from your accountant. That's probably the best way to go in that way. Now, second, I hate GST. Absolutely hate it. But then again, I'm smart enough to get a professional registered bookkeeper in to do my account work for me. Second situation is, how are you going to own your business? Now, there are a number of ways in which to own a business, and this is really important. My name's Sharon McCaskey, and I am a business mentor. I can actually call myself Sharon McCaskey, business mentor, but I cannot basically call myself a business name or trading as or anything like that if I don't register anything at all. I'm just a simple Sharon McCaskey, business mentor. Mark Smith, hairdresser. William McCaskey, stud muffin. Anything at all that is basically a description of what you do is what you can have, but you must use your name and the description. You can't elaborate at all. The other way to do it is register a name. MDVS Business Services is a name. DS Factor, a name. Urban Retreat Day Spa, a name. Picardy Press, a name. But you register that. Now, the name itself can be owned by a number of ways. If you as an individual decide to own it as a sole trader, being that the owner of MDVS Business Services is Sharon McCaskey, then Sharon McCaskey is personally responsible for everything in that business. If I go into debt, 20,000, 100,000, 150,000, my house and everything that I own can be sold and seized by a court of law for unpaid debts. Okay, that's really important to know. Second situation is if I decide to take a partner. MDVS Business Services is now owned by Sharon McCaskey, and this person here, we'll call them, oh, look at that. Oh, God, don't I need to lose weight? I think that's another video or another business. So we'll put the arm down and start again. MDVS Business Services being owned by Sharon McCaskey and, say, Jenny Jones. Now, Sharon McCaskey owns a number of assets and Jenny Jones owns absolutely nothing. But Jenny Jones is the one that runs up all the debts and all the charges. We are jointly and severally responsible for all the debts incurred in the name of MDVS Business Services. Now, what this actually means is if any point in time this person here runs up the debts and runs away, I can be sued for whatever debt this person actually does. And my private assets can be taken into consideration and sold even though I may not even have known this person was running up all the debts. So do be careful when you're dealing with partnerships. They are a legal minefield. Later on, we'll get into it as well, that if you've got a partnership, what happens if, God forbid, one of you dies, one of you gets divorced, the other one decides to sue each other. So everything in a partnership needs to be put in writing. Second thing, the final thing is that if you're running your business as a proprietary limited, a proprietary limited is what I trade as. MDVS Business Services is the business name, and the company Wood Hobbies Proprietary Limited owns that business. Now, the reason Wood Hobbies Proprietary Limited owns it is because Wood Hobbies owns a number of different businesses, and basically it's one entity that trades under here. I'm just simply a director, and I am not responsible for any of the debts that I incur. In saying that, if you decided to sue MDVS Business Services, you can't touch me. You can only go after the company, and the company is only worth $1. That's where you find out that many people you're dealing with are like, oh my God, this guy owes me $10,000 and he's got a Lamborghini, and the courts say that he owns absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, it's legal. I personally believe 100% in paying all my bills and will pay all my bills. The final way in which you can own a business and trade as a business is a trust. A trust is simply now it's basically an entity on its own where one person, two people, three people, more people are in trust for the business, and whatever profits it makes are split amongst the people. It is really hard to understand, and strongly suggest you deal with your company and accountant. So just be aware of the things involved. If you're going to start your own business, be passionate. If you're going to start something, find out, do you need to be licensed or registered? Get insurance for home, because your home insurance won't cover you running a business. Contact the council or your local shire and get your home business registered, and ascertain who owns your business and how you're going to be trading. Good luck, and so long from Sharon McCaskey.